I am from beyond. Listen, and all you desire will be yours. Welcome to Spider-Dan and the Secret Balls. Prepare for Prattle. Shockphobia Fest.
Welcome to Prattle World. I am your host, the ever-amazing, ever-spectacular Spider-Dan. And in this podcast, I spotlight entertainment's best-kept secrets that a mainstream audience may find boring. And welcome to Shockphobia Fest, a month-long celebration of All Hallows Eve's most frightening films and comic spooks. And unfortunately, a planned podcast has not commenced as normal. Sadly, Georgina Hanmer, who's going to join me and we were going to look at the Cowboy Bebop movie, has hurt both of her legs and she has horrible flu. So we wish her a speedy recovery. So that has ruined my all-female Shockphobia Fest plan because I've got a very special guest, as always, just as special as myself in so many ways. And he's here. We talked last week about a black and white clown in The Crow, and we're back with Dan Burgess, photographer extraordinaire and friend to many, many of the celebs and the horror guests. Welcome back, sir, and thank you for filling in. How are you, sir?
I'm good. Thanks for having me again. I'd like to your stand-in. I'd like to apologise to your listeners who someone who actually knew what they were talking about. You got me instead.
Yes. Well, as I was hinting at earlier, we are discussing a film that you actually like for once, as opposed to the stuff I usually show you.
There's no Brazilian fart porn in this one.
I mean, I've not seen Terrifier 2 yet, so I don't know. Maybe there's some in that.
I just thought I'd get that out the way straight away. Because we normally mention it somewhere, so let's...
got it. I mean, they are expecting it. It's our trademark every time we do one. So we mention
what about the
hashtags? And did your wife walk in during a specific scene, one of the more brutal scenes?
Believe it or not, my wife had watched this with me.
Wow.
It's not her kind of film. You'll be surprised to hear when we first watched it. So when I've watched it ever since, no. But she probably would walk in the exact scene. I think you know one.
Yes, very infamous scene. So Terrifier, which came out in 2016, which was a spin-off from a film called All Hallows Eve, which was, I believe it was all of David Leone's short films combined into one.
Yeah, so basically, I think 2008, he did The Ninth Circle. 2011 was the original short Terrifier, and then 2013, All Hallows Eve. Put them together into a VHS found footage type film, which included one of the weirdest alien segments in it that I think even he's seen. I think they wanted to do it with their stop motion puppetry originally.
Yes, yeah.
He just settled for a man in a suit, which was just the weirdest thing to have. But I still love it.
Yeah, I know it was an idea for Leone to kind of, because obviously he had the clown character and he wanted to kind of expose that character to an audience. I wasn't a massive fan of those films, again, that really low budget, very
70s shocksploitation style, grindhousey style too.
Oh, very much, yeah. That kind of style. It's very gritty and gringy and grungy. Gringy, I don't think is a word, but there you go. Now. It is now. I've made a word.
Hashtag gringy, guys.
Hashtag gringy. But yeah, it wasn't my favorite, I'll be honest. But I did think there was something about Art the Clown. And I remember you talked about the character a lot. I think I remember you saying that he's like the new face, the new slasher icon.
I thought so. But, most people disagree with what I think anyway. But yeah, I just thought in The Ninth Circle, it's more of a supernatural hell. Obviously, it's art's almost like the devil's or this demon, whatever it is. He brings them. he finds the women for him to go and impregnate. It's played by Mike Gianelli in the original. He's like a rounder-faced almost art. He's not as bony looking as David Howard Thornton became in Terrifier. He's almost like a black and white Ronald McDonald. He's got similar makeup and stuff, so which makes it even more like weird.
Well, Ronald McDonald will get a couple of mentions in our listener comments because I've asked for everyone's favourite creepy clowns, and and he turns up at least twice, I believe.
The old school one, the proper one with the beak nose, with the cup as a nose, and weird.
I'm going to talk about something later, and it kind of explains why we see a lot less of Ronald McDonald. But we'll get into that. Teaser for this very own podcast.
What you're doing with these podcasts.
I've had a little bit of practice. This is episode 151, Dan, as well. So I've done a fair few. Now.
I'm happy to be starting the next up to 250s.
That's right. You're in it to win it, I guess. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the actual film Terrifier? So like you were saying, you've Michael Gianelli was in that first one. There was a bit of supernatural edge to art, and obviously the popularity of this, they kind of expand on a lot of the ideas from those short films in All Hallows Eve and create this film Terrifier, which had a much bigger impact and a bit more iconic than, say, All Hallows Eve. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, so in All Hallows Eve, he starts off, so there's 3 sections. The first section is he's a very supernatural, devil-based, demon-y type thing. Then in the Terrifier segment, he's more grounded in reality. So it's almost like a hobo murderer, but you don't quite know what's going on, kind of thing. And he's a mute. Essentially, he's a mime. The Terrifier then that they made, the full-length version, is essentially expanded on that idea. It's about 2 girls, Tara and Dawn, I think the names are.
Correct.
Correctly. They're walking home in the middle of like a place where there would be no clubs, but they're apparently coming back from a club. I just find that really strange. They're like just in a normal street, just walking along. She's dressed in like skeleton. It's meant to be Halloween kind of thing, so...
Dawn's a scarecrow, isn't she? She's dressed as a scarecrow.
Yeah, the scarecrow from Wizard of Oz. Both very attractive young ladies who've obviously been to the club, had a few too many drinks, and then go, she's what does she say? She's too fucking lit to drive. Too fucking lit to drive. So
you're so down with the kids' lingo nowadays.
Yeah. So I'm getting there. I'm sure I'll come up with some really top of the range, old school like references during this. So
I can't wait.
You're born in the 70s. Buckle up, kids. So that's what she says. So apparently, if you're too drunk to drive, if you just go and have a bit of a pizza or something, you'll be fine. So they see this little pizza joint, which is in a strip mall. I think I made a note of what. Oh yeah, so there's nails and delicatessen, pizza, wines, and liquor. in this strip mall, and so the pizza's in the middle. And all I could think of was that liquor in the front, poker in the rear. You know that one? Kind of fits in this film as well. So they go in there, and it's like they've seen this weird clown guy outside. He's like a Pierrot, you know, those old school like just black and white, one half's black, one half's white, and got a little dot on the end of his nose, and he's properly creepy. He's like horrible black teeth and stuff. So they see him, and he's carrying a big, massive bin bag full of God knows what. But obviously, he just looks like a weird drunk. They've come home in fancy dress. He's out in fancy dress as well, and he's just like waving.
It's Halloween. It's set on Halloween, so it fits into our Shockphobia Fest, and that's why he can probably get around and do the things he does during Halloween, because he is in costume.
And he does his little wave at them, and they just think he's weird. So then they go in the pizza place. Hey, girls, take a seat. That's my only accent to do on this show.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's good.
If you've listened to any of the previous shows I've been on with you, Dan, you know that's my go-to American.
That's my accent.
Yes,
my accent I use.
Man or woman, that's how I talk. So yeah. So Tara says, "Hey, should we get some pizza?" No. So They go in and the fella behind the counter is where there's two guys behind the counter. They come in for something to eat. The clown comes in, and Dawn, she's a bit like, Tara's a bit like, oh my God, he's freaking me out. But Dawn goes and sits on his knee, takes selfies with him and all kinds. I'm like, that's one of my favorite things. I think I don't know whether I've misremembered it, but in the selfie, he's dead stern faced but when she looks at the phone of the selfie, he's like got a big smile on his face kind of thing. So it's like two different things have happened at the same time. One on the, on the picture and in reality kind of thing. Or maybe I've just not remembered that correctly.
I think you might be right. I can't say I noticed it, but I think you might be right.
He's smiling at her. He's fixated on Tara. He's kind of like ignoring Dawn. You know what I mean? It's like your man. And then he goes to a little cash machine. Somebody's left a tip on the table. Picks the coin up and he puts it in the little bubble machine, and the little ring comes out, and he goes over and kind of like mimes to, will you marry me kind of thing. Gives her the ring. She's freaked out. So they basically leave. When they go out, the tire's been slashed, so they can't go. They ring Tara's sister up. Victoria, is it?
Yeah, it's Victoria, that's right.
Yeah. And that's Samantha Scafidi. So she says, I'll come and get you, basically. So they wait in the car, and in this time, the Scart's like, Art's buggered off. I was thinking of what happens next, which is why I said Scart there, because I've got Scat and Art mixed up together. Because basically, he's done a dirty protest in the toilets, is all you can describe it as, isn't it? There's just shit everywhere. And he's written art on the wall in it, which I think is a beautiful touch, because it is some form of art.
Yeah, it's a work of art, arguably. It did remind me of an occurrence once when I used to work at Subway, and someone just came in, left, shat all over the floor, just all over, and it was my job to clean it up. What a great day! What a great day that was.
Meatball footlong.
Yeah, straight out. Just just everywhere. It was awful. It was horrendous.
So I think you'll have felt like the guy who had to clean it up.
I did. I really did. So,
he wasn't happy.
No, also reminded me of a time I worked at a nightclub and someone vomited in the urinal. I was only like 15 at the time. I had to clear out the vomit out of the urinal, and this guy's pissing in either of my ears next to me while I'm trying to scoop out this pink vomit. The manager did give me a tenner though, so I was like, all right, that'll do. That'll make up.
Was he clearly just broken the law by making?
Yeah, you shouldn't be doing that. Anyway,
so hideous things happen. If anyone has, I don't know whether we should be spoiling this for people that think maybe
spoilers now. Spoilers now.
Make sure you've seen it. Make sure. Yeah. But so he goes out to complain to his boss in no uncertain terms that he's not happy. But his boss's head is on the counter as a jack-o'-lantern, basically. And it's really good effect, because it's all. That's what's good about this is it's all practical effects. That's like Damien Leone's thing. He's old school Tom Savini style.
I read that was his kind of inspiration to get into movies, was all the Tom Savini stuff, and then he decided to make films and stuff. So, yeah, you can definitely see the Tom Savini influence, absolutely.
As realistic as it can be, really. I mean, it's not real, but you do look at it and think, that is a good jack-o'-lantern face.
Oh yeah, it's great. It's great. I really appreciate the practical effects in this because it was partly funded by Indiegogo, and Terrifier 2 was an Indiegogo funded one as well. And again, Terrifier 2 is doing absolute gangbusters. It's barely in any cinemas, and it's making a shit ton of money.
It made 1.8 million. I think what did it cost? $100,000 to make or something.
Yeah, I think I read something like 250,000, something like that. So
that might have been after the second run of Kickstarter thing.
Yeah, maybe, but yeah, it's clearly
in this week and 5.2 million overall it's made so far.
Jesus,
and they were saying at the weekend that it's in less theaters and made more money this week.
Wow!
So it's breaking the mold basically at the moment. Terrifier 2, 2 hours 20. Insanity, apparently. I haven't seen it yet. It came out today in the UK.
Did it? Okay.
On 24th of October as we record this.
Oh.
Just in case this goes out in whenever.
Friday. So Monday, it'll be out.
It's out now.
It's out right now. You're listening to it on Friday right now.
Sold out.
Sold out. Is it coming to cinemas or is it just streaming?
It's basically on Blu-ray, DVD here. It's streaming in the States. I don't think there's going to be a theatrical release here, which is a shame because it's obviously people would go and see it. Because I looked today for it on Amazon and it was sold out. You can rent it.
Not to worry. Well, Dan was referencing the weekend just gone. He has been at For the Love of Horror, the Manchester-based horror event. He was taking photos and he met the director and Art the Clown himself, didn't you?
I did indeed. It was a surreal experience. He was doing a photo op as Art in full makeup.
Nice.
So I met them beforehand and just said, any chance I could come up and take behind the scenes photos as you're taking the makeup, putting the makeup on. Knowing Damien is an independent filmmaker, I thought he's likely to be more cool with that than maybe his manager might be or whatever. So I'd find out. Asked all three of them if it was okay, and it was yes. So Damien, the manager, and David all said, yeah, no worries. While they did the makeup, took about an hour and a half. I sat in there chilling out with Art the Clown. First thing I walked in, just saw his boots on the floor. And now to me, Art's boots are almost as iconic as Freddie's glove.
Wow, really? You know what? I didn't actually notice the boots. What are they like? Describe them.
Big clown boots.
Oh shit! Yeah, black and white.
You will get to the bit in a bit where.
Oh yeah. Now I remember. Yeah.
But he's got the proper old school, like big, long, round fronted.
Flat.
Yeah. Flat black, old and battered clown shoes. You know, the kind you wouldn't want to wear. They're like flippers, but big clodhopper shoes. Saw them and then saw the Art clothes. I just sat there while he put all the makeup on and stuff. And I was like, oh my! And they're such lovely guys, And then Samantha Scafidi came in. They all started talking of stuff that I won't mention on here, and it was just really cool to be there. And they were just such a laugh, Kelly all got on really well. We were just all chilling out and having a good laugh.
Amazing.
And then so got a few photos, of course, as you do. And then,
of course, and Dan will be
selfie type one,
Oh, I have seen that. So get on Dan's Instagram at Dan's Photo One. Dan Photo One, is it? Or Dan's Photo? Sorry, Dan's Photo. But it's on Twitter as Dan's Photo One.
Dan's Photo One. Yeah.
That's right. I will remind people at the end, but go check that shit out because it's brilliant and amazing. And all the stuff Dan does, I say it every day, every time he's on, is his photography and editing skills are second to none. Well, second to his podcasting skills, I think.
Oh, of course.
Gosh.
I'd like to say it's better than me podcasting skills.
Yeah, I would agree.
We're in trouble.
I would agree, but I'd agree it's also better than my podcasting skills as well. So there you go. What I do like about Art the Clown is he's kind of almost a mix of two kind of slasher villains, isn't he? He's kind of the strong silent type, like a Freddy or a Michael Myers. You've got that aspect to him, and then also you've got even though he doesn't speak, he still is able to express himself quite a lot, like with his face, and he's not behind just a blank mask.
He's full mime. And I think David's trained as mime / circus type.
Yeah, he did a lot of children's theatre as well.
Yeah, he was the Grinch. I think he's actually going to be in the new. It's a mean one. He's a mean one or something, or the mean one. It's
shit! Yeah, the slasher Grinch film. Yeah,
because he actually trained with was a guy
from Lazy Town.
Yeah, Lazy Town.
The villain, whatever he is. Yeah, he was the understudy to him as the Grinch, I think. I read somewhere or heard in an interview with him. But yeah, you can definitely see he's got that physicality about him, and he knows, you can tell how much fun he's having doing it. I think I could have done with a bit more clown stuff. You know what I mean? Like some clown. The clowning and that I could have done with a bit more of it. Maybe he mimes like a baseball bat or something. I don't know. And it actually hurts somebody or something. I don't know. Maybe we'll see that in the future or something. But there's some ideas there which I think they could play with. Like him on the bike, I thought was really good. The tiny little jigsaw bike, and I
think Terrifier, it was more grounded in reality. I think Terrifier 2 from what I've heard, might slip back into it will.
Yeah.
Because of the end of Terrifier. So we know it will go into the supernatural style. And that's where those type of things could come into it,
Yeah. I'd love that.
Green Lantern style miming.
I can't wait. That's what I really dig about it. And I think like art is it's such a unique design and real eye-catching design as well. The monochromatic look, the crooked nose, like you said, the teeth and the lips, and the tiny little hat.
Yeah, jaunty angled on his little left side there, sticking out. It's an iconic look, and like will become. I think it's a franchise now. It's got to be. Let's hope the big studios don't get involved too much, because it's obviously
I think that's the worry, isn't it?
Terrifier 2 is unrated. He's just brought it out as he wanted to bring it out. I think if studios were involved, it'd probably be cut a bit.
Yeah, we've seen
toy line had come out over it.
Records and everything.
Well, yeah, I just remembered that at the beginning of the film is a very what I thought of it was a very Kruger-esque beginning. Where Kruger's making his bladed glove.
Oh yeah, because he's putting all the things in the bag.
He's putting all this. He's got a cat o' nine tails with all different knives and scalpels and bits, scissors, and apparently, from what I heard at the weekend, the rope on it is made from his victim's hair.
Ooh, I like that.
He's a sick puppy. So, but you don't really know what's in his bin bag, but it's a pretty full looking bin bag.
I did think about it as it must be the toughest bin bag imaginable, because all these bladed weapons are in it and it's not being torn apart. Yeah. I kept imagining it as I kept imagining like Mary Poppins carpet bag, but for him it's just the bin bag with all these weapons in.
And that's because basically, in slasher films where they have to find a weapon. In this, basically, Ark just carries his all with him in his bin bag of joy. And that's the thing with him. You can see he takes great glee in killing things.
I quite like, you were talking about moments where he pulls her face and stuff. That moment where, so Tara's desperate for the toilet. Victoria's coming to get her and Dawn. She asked this guy who's
where it went a bit odd, silly for me. There's a guy there's in this random ramshackle run-down house building, which they call later on. When he finally gets around to ringing the police. He calls it a warehouse. It's clearly not a warehouse. He's outside having a cigarette, and they go, "Oh, I need this." I'm going in there to ask this, frankly, scarier looking than art fella. He's not the most approachable looking guy, but I think that's the point. You're meant to think, "Oh God, who's this dude? What's going to happen here?" He's
got a blue jumpsuit on, so I'm instantly thinking Michael Myers and stuff.
Yeah, definitely a murderer when you've got a blue jumpsuit on. Yeah, so she goes into the house for a pee, and he's fumigating it with bug spray. But then he tells her the problem is rats.
Oh yeah. He says, "Oh, I'm going to bug bomb it."
Yeah,
he does say bug bomb, doesn't he?
Yeah, and then later on, he's smoking in the building. Why was he outside having a smoke? Well, we think it's a required moment. It's just that they're the kind of things that I go, "What? You're breaking the rules there, mate. You're clearly not allowed to smoke in there. What are you doing? Your boss will be furious."
Yeah. And shouldn't he have some sort of mask on if it's chemicals and stuff? But
it's just health and safety has just been thrown right out of the window in that place. And frankly, I'm disgusted.
I did get a bit of a Session 9 vibe from the building and him cleaning it and stuff. I was like, oh yeah, that's a good movie. I like that. But that was about it for about a minute. I read actually that the warehouse they use in the film is real, and they didn't have to dress it up at all. They didn't have to make it look disgusting because it was just in absolute like that toilet, that bathroom they're in.
Yeah.
That's all the original bathroom. They're not going let's put some more shit on the walls and stuff. It's there. Apparently the owner had left photos of himself, topless, with all these buxom ladies as well. And they were like, what the fuck is this place? And there's a moment in the film as well. So we'll talk about it later, but Art does a big reveal of something. And when he does the big reveal and kind of shows it, if you look closely, it stayed in the film. It was in the film. A tile falls down to the right of the actors from the roof, hitting the ground, missing them entirely. But that shot is in the film, so that fucking tile could have landed right on their fucking heads. That's how bad that building is.
It is an absolutely lovely place.
And we'll all stay there. We'll all stay there in the future. You know what? Like, there's not, like, I know you were talking about the plot and stuff, but there's not a lot of dialogue in this, which I found interesting as well. Given that, that art is a mute, and then, it's mostly just people running around screaming, mostly, or that sort of thing.
Kind of a good thing about it is they don't really scream in it either. I don't want to sound like sexist or anything here, but normally the women in some horror films just constantly screaming. You think, if you be quiet and hide, you might have a chance here. Stop screaming. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm over here.
There was a couple of moments where I'm like, why can't you see her? Like that's so so clearly, like, if you just even his peripheral vision would see her, otherwise she's hiding now.
I like to think he knew she was there and was just winding her up because he's a clown, so he was doing the whole "ooh, I can't find you," ooh. And she's thinking, "Oh, I'm safe," and then he'd pop up like, "Gotcha."
And that's one of the things I like about art as well, is that he kind of plays with his victims and kind of lets them get the better of him. And I like that he gets injured as well. Like, it's not like a Michael Myers or a Jason where he kind of just shrug it off and carry on. He does get injured and he's like, "Oh, ah," and he like does a silent scream and things. Yeah, he like mimes he's in pain, or he's flipping them off and things like that. It's brilliant. And I think it's
the bird thing. Apparently, it was an outtake.
Was it?
Yeah. So and they just left it in because it was hilarious. So they thought if the crew laughed, they thought, "Oh, I'm going to leave it in because the audience will laugh as well," kind of thing. As much as you meant to laugh at this kind of film. But that's what I liked about it. And in that, there's a scene then, obviously she's in the house. It goes like back outside to Dawn, who's still in the car, and the door opens. She is on the radio. There's a killer clown on the loose. They're looking for this guy dressed as a black and white clown after the guys in the pizza place have been found dead. Oh, because we have to go back to the pizza place, sorry. He stabs him in the face in the most horrendous way possible, and then just proceeds to like stab him. And that's the kind of, like in most films you just see the knife come up and it'd be like, that'd be it, and they'd cut it and it'd be like you see the blood spraying up the walls or whatever. This is literally just he's getting stabbed. It reminded me a bit of like Peter Jackson's Bad Taste.
Oh yeah,
kind of where he's getting machine gunned and just like he looks like his insides are made out of a mattress, like kind of. But that's the kind of, it's just stabbing, and you can see he's like he's probably enjoying himself killing people.
Oh yeah,
and I think that's the thing. So they hear about this murder, and then she opens the door and she thinks it's Tara getting back in. She's like, "Oh, you never knew about," and it's him it's him. Then he waves at her, and then like she's not. So
I love that. I love that moment as well. He locks them in, doesn't he? Padlocks the door. Or it's the security guy. I can't remember, and he just stands there for ages, just holding like a scalpel and just being like, "Ah.
Hello, it's me."
And he's there, and it goes on for like too long, and I love it. And then he just kind of goes for it. It's brilliant.
The way he holds a scalpel as well is like the dainty,
very dainty.
It's really at his fingertips. Like. It's great.
I love it. I think there was a really cool moment as well. There's this. She's called in the script. She's called the cat lady, even though she doesn't have any cats. And she's this.
She was later on.
Oh shit! Yeah, she does, doesn't she? Yeah. But she's got this.
She's basically got a doll baby.
Yeah. So like a doll baby. She's like, I'm your new neighbor. Hello. Yeah. And Art kind of steals the baby and he goes into one of these tunnels and he's rocking the baby, and she comes over and is like, you've never had a mother, and you've never, and she's stroking him and she's crying her eyes out. And apparently that performance was so powerful that David Howard Thornton, who plays Art the clown, started crying. And she's like, "You're Art the clown. You don't cry, you dick." And he's like, "Oh no, I'm so sorry. It's such a good performance. Stop it."
I can imagine that from David, because seeing him at the weekend, he is very, very like just such a nice guy. You can imagine him to be touched by all kinds of things. Oh.
I think that's what you find as well. You find that a lot of the people that play the best villains are actually like really, nice people, really softly spoken, friendly. Acting talent.
He was lovely.
Another fact about those tunnels as well. Let's see, what was the name of it? I think it was the Seaview Hospital or something. Yes, Seaview Hospital. It was an abandoned hospital, and those underground tunnels. This hospital was the largest tuberculosis sanitarium in the US.
Nice.
That they used for this film. And those tunnels were used to dispose of the dead out of the way of the other patients, obviously not to freak them out or disturb them in any way. And that's where they were taken through those tunnels to be cremated.
Well, there you go.
Lovely little factoid there. Lovely little bit of trivia. Yes, I was saying to Dan as well, I was very disappointed with the amount of trivia on Terrifier, considering it's been out for quite a long time now. So I started adding the stuff I discovered to the IMDb page myself. So if you want to read the trivia in Terrifier, about half of it is the stuff I found. So go ahead, go read. Steal it, use it.
Read it now. Make sure.
Read it now. Well, I'll probably mention most of them though, so on this podcast, so you can just listen.
Well, isn't there a thing like you can say, was this trivia useful to you?
Oh yeah, like my trivia, all the trivia I put down. But bottom half to about midway, it's all my trivia. So put a thumbs up, say it was interesting. I think that's what you can do. This was really interesting. Or just listen to the podcast and join the Patreon, because you can get extra content for monies. Not that I'm desperate for money, but
if you want to see, maybe I could send you some other photos.
Ooh.
Some behind the scenes art. You just pick up on photographs that only will appear on your Patreon.
Oh well, I would be happy to kick back a little bit as well for you, a little bit.
I'll sort that for you, sir.
Maybe you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that.
You heard it here first.
You heard it here first, right? Exclusive photos from Dan on my Patreon of Art the Clown and other stuff from the love of horror.
For the love of horror.
I read as well that Damien Leone is a big Pennywise fan. So Tim Curry's one, not the Skarsgård, Bill Skarsgård one, because that came out the year after Terrifier, didn't it? 2017, if I'm right. Yeah. So he was like, right, if I'm going to make a killer clown, it can't be anything like Pennywise. So he said, right, no
colour, no.
Yeah, exactly. Black and white, doesn't speak,
no wisecracking.
Yeah, doesn't have hair, and I think that was the best thing he could have done, because it really does differentiate and in a way, how can you top either of those performances, really?
Amazingly for him, Stephen King tweeted about Terrifier 2 this week.
Wow.
You know you're doing something right.
And you know what? I bet he said, oh, why didn't it turn into a giant spider? I wanted a giant spider. That's what clowns do. That's normal for clowns.
Why wasn't there a kid orgy in this? Actually, I haven't seen 2, so I don't know whether there is one.
There is no. I can confirm there's no kid orgy. But
have you seen 2?
I have seen 2. I've seen chapter 1 and chapter 2.
Did you see it at the premiere or?
No, I just saw it at the cinema. Very boring. On my own, I went to see it. And again, I was a bit disappointed. My main problem with it is that once they grow up, I don't give a shit, because I don't feel like they're in mortal danger really as much. I think when they're kids, it's got this Goonies vibe. It's got, there's a bit more to it. So I always prefer the first half of that story than the second half. But that's just my opinion. I like kids in danger. Apparently, that's my thing. That's my particular thing. I like kids being in danger, but then succeeding in the end.
Insight the mind.
I'll get my nephew and like dangle him over a balcony like Michael Jackson did. There you go. He's fine. It's blanket.
Frankie.
I'm Peter Pan. You're ignorant. God, what a bloody bizarre documentary that was with what's his name? Who was the reporter that did the documentary with him?
Martin Bashir or something like that.
Bashir, yeah, that was him. He was a weird one as well.
Everyone's
They're all bloody weird. These
they're all
songs.
bloody weird.
They're all bloody weird. But yeah, I was talking about the influences that David Howard Thornton had with art as well. He said that he looked at all the physical performers, all the mimes, the silent actors like Chaplin, Buster Keaton, Jim Carrey, Doug Jones, all these really physical actors. And I think it does really show in his performance and the physicality and the suppleness of his movements as well, and the staccato stuff. And then like there's a scene later in the film, again, spoilers for the film, but he cuts off all of the woman's genitalia and breasts and hair and walks around naked wearing it. Very Buffalo Bill.
Yeah.
And during that, his physicality as the woman is like weirdly hypnotic to me a little bit, like strangely.
I think it wouldn't have worked as a character as much if it wasn't him playing it. He just nails everything about it because it's got to be that like performance, that body. It's like a body performance. If you didn't have someone who was as adept at it as he is, it'd fall flat.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah.
I'm
glad as
a sexy lady. And it's like he stands up and he goes, ooh, he's like all coy about it, like, you know what I mean? It's like, look at me.
Like it could come off really bad. Like you said, it could not work, but it really does, and he really sells it. And the better of a woman he portrays, the creepier it becomes.
Yeah,
and
you can see he's just done it for the laugh. Do you know what I mean? There's no reason for it. He's just gone, yeah, this is funny.
Yeah. This will be a laugh.
I'm going to slice it to pieces and stick a tits on. And the thing is, he's took his clown outfit off. He is naked underneath it. Like, he's just like, woohoo, check me out, bitch.
And again, I think if he left the clown outfit on, it wouldn't work.
No, exactly.
Because I think his physical form is it kind of adds to the femininity of it. And I think if you couldn't see his whole body and it's just that baggy clown outfit, it really would it would be shit.
Yeah.
It'd just be weird. But I'm glad he went for it. Glad he went right. You know, here's my exposure.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask again, like we were talking about that tunnel scene with the cat lady. What do you think is going on there with Art and the cat lady? Do you think he's kind of messing with her? Do you think there's something where she's like, oh, you've never had a mummy before, you've never been looked after, I love you and I'll take care of you and all that sort of stuff?
It's an odd seeing that because it's like she's like mental, basically. Sure. She's like there's something. Obviously, she's got a child. Her child is a doll. So she's, there's something about her which is again a bit like she's one of those characters where you're thinking, is she gonna be something else? If you know what I mean. Why is she the only person in this house? Why is she living in the basement? Why does she think she's going to be a neighbour and they can do the laundry together when clearly she hasn't got any clothes anyway? That kind of thing. So you're wondering, who is this? And
does she own the building or something?
Yeah, she just goes over to say, like, can I have my baby back kind of thing? And he's like looking at it. And it's almost like he feels like a kindred spirit with her. And you almost think then when she's cuddling him and stuff, like, oh, he's just going to leave her alone. But then you just realise, no, he's just been messing with her too.
And like, it is like the violence is quite extreme, but then again, not. Like, I've seen worse violence in films. Like I know a lot of people are fainting in this new one and throwing up and passing out and all this sort of stuff. But when I came to watch this, I did expect a bit more. I mean, again, I think the hacksaw scene is probably
the sawing scene is the main one people talk about. I think the sawing scene is almost like the ear scene in Reservoir Dogs. It's that kind of, everyone's going, oh, there's this bit in it. And I think the violence in it, I think like realistic, quick violence is more frightening than the violence in this, if you know what I mean. Like if you see a film where someone just goes to talk to someone and then just bang, they shoot them in the face or something like that. You go, fuck, no. This hasn't got that. It's got like protracted, long scenes of just like mutilation, essentially. And that's what I think makes it worse. Even though it's not worse violence, it kind of like stays with you a bit longer because it's like he's enjoying killing. It's not a quick like the Tara, she's hidden from him in this scene. I mean, it's not a long film, so although we're jumping everywhere, it all happens like pretty quick. It's all like one set kind of thing.
There's basically, it's just a series of killings by Art the Clown in this warehouse. That's basically it. There's not other than there's a killer clown out killing people and locked people in this warehouse. There's really not much of a plot.
You know, I think the opening budget on this one was like $35,000 or something. So that sets up. Obviously, it's going to be a couple of sets, couple of locations. It's not you're not going to be going everywhere in cars and all that stuff. She's like hiding from him, and he's got this cat o' nine tails thing, and he basically pet cemeteries, doesn't he? He's stabbing her in the car.
Oh, yeah, really.
And it's like, again, it's not the little just one stab. He's properly sticking it in him, as much as he can. She's already down, but no, I'll just carry on stabbing her. And then he basically, this is where he changes from a Michael Myers standard run-of-the-mill slasher film baddie, because he shoots her.
I was going to ask about this. Because that's...
So she basically fights back with the fucking big stick. So she's smacking the hell out of him. She's winning almost. And he's like, doing all this manny, oh my God, you're killing me kind of thing. And he falls and she goes, come on, you son of a bit. As, you've got to, haven't you, in a horror film, you've got to give them the chance to get up, of course. And he basically just stands up and shoots her in the face. And
twice, I think. Shoots her in the cheek and then walks over and is like, shoots her again.
But he reloads and then just literally, I think he reloads, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
Literally just pumps an entire thing into her face for no reason, because she's basically dead anyway. Other than, you know what? I just feel like you're not having an open coffin. I'm going to blast shit out of your head. and take great joy in it.
I guess with slasher villains, it always, like Michael Myers, he doesn't use the shotgun in I think it's 5, but he puts the girl through the wall with it and he stabs her with it. I guess the term slasher has to be, I know there's what's that one? Is it Don't Go in the House? It's like an early 80s one, late 70s one. It's basically a guy who lures women back, locks them in a burn room, puts a suit on, and then just flamethrowers them to death. Which I mean, technically there are the slasher elements to it, and the style of film is a slasher, but he doesn't actually do any slashing. And I know there's villains like Death Proof or Highwaymen, where it's like they're using a car, that's their weapon. But yeah, it's very rare you would see
someone who's like that. He's like using knives, and he's like a stalkery type to just pull out a gun. It's like a normal gun. In the original, in the short, if I'm remembering the differences, there's a car scene where she's escaping with someone who's picked her up to help her, and he pulls alongside in a car, and he goes, waves at the fella in the car. They're shooting in the face.
Yeah, I think I remember that. There's definitely something with like a gas station.
And then the car crashes, and she runs off into a similar building to what happens in the longer version. And what we forgot as well, at the beginning of Terrifier, babysitter from All Hallows Eve, the actress, is a TV presenter, and she's interviewing a woman on the TV screen. So it's like a TV playing, and with all like the fuzz of TV. And she's got like a mutilated face, and she's interviewing her about what's gone on, and and it's kind of like before the film kicks off, and then you see Art getting all the stuff ready, and then the film continues. And this is the bit before Tara dies. She basically stumbles upon her friend, or stumbles upon Art, who's just got a lovely sheathed, like an easel waiting for her with like a cover on it, and he's like, "Dunno." So he catches her, ties her to a chair. Because he likes to use like a needle with some kind of drug in it and stuff.
Yeah,
people out, and so she's basically knocked out anyway. I think he's just smacked her with a fucking hammer or something, hasn't he? I'm trying to think of where the deaths come into this, which part, because it's Victoria ends up arriving after Tara's dead.
Yeah, that's right.
So basically everyone's dead.
She's ringing the phone. She's Dawn is dead. Obviously the hacksaw
Mike the
the exterminator on the outside.
He's helping Victoria at the end, isn't he? It's not Tara. He's helped. They look very similar. This is the thing.
Well, they are sisters, I guess. But they do look quite similar.
So he's helping the end girl rather than
that's
Tara,
right.
for timing wise. So
and I felt that
he's got his headphones on, hasn't he, all the way through.
That's right. And she's screaming, and he's turning around. And she runs away. Can't see her. And then he gets knocked out by Art. And then he comes and knocks Art out to save Victoria, which I was like, finish him off, like, because he knocks him to the ground. He barely did anything. Do something.
If you had the keys to the entire building, you just get out the building and run away. But no, he just goes into a room, rings the police. You better get over here as soon as you can.
Yeah,
there's a murderer on the loose.
There's a murder. It's gonna be a murder. And they're like, stay calm, stay there. He's like, fuck that, I'm off.
But when Art's like captured there and he's tied her to the chair, and then he makes her just watch, and he basically blankets this tableau he's created of Dawn, basically splayed in an X shape, upside down, naked, and he's like a magician's assistant. He goes, ta-da! And then he goes, oh look, and he's got a nice little hacksaw, and he starts right in the butt.
Yeah, right.
And Cat just starts soaring.
Right in the most sensitive area of the lady.
Starts soaring straight down the middle until he reaches the head. And Damien Leone got this idea from an actual medieval torture that they used to do.
Really?
They used to actually do that. The idea was they could basically be cutting you in half, and because they essentially miss all your internal organs, theoretically, you'd stay alive longer. But I'm pretty sure most people would just go unconscious as soon as it got an inch in. Yeah.
God,
so
yeah.
That's the scene everyone talked about when the film came out.
Yeah.
He saws a woman in half, like the worst magician possible.
I was going to say, it's like a magician. You know how much I hate magicians. Yes. You included. Yeah, it did feel a bit like that. It's like, it's obviously the showman, it's the show, it's this, it's like a Wizard of Gore type thing, or and he's hacking away. And the way it's edited as well, I think it's really well done. But even I've seen a lot of horror movies. I'm not that squeamish, but even I was like, when it started, I was like, oh, right in the veg. Oh.
It's very, very well done. Again, and it's all practical.
Because you see him just kind of go, like a lot of shots of him just doing it and the blood spraying all over him and he's laughing. Yeah. He's just going for it. I read as well that the actress who plays Dawn, they made a full body cast of her. They were going to make a mannequin or something instead. They're like, I can make it look real and we'll pull it apart and do all this. And I think the producer or the guy who's funding it was like, no, it's got to be a full body, prosthetic, mold thing. Yeah. So they put her in a mold, did a full body mold of her, but they have this, I think it's called a releasing agent, which is supposed to enable the mold to come off easier and not to get stuck to the skin. And apparently there was too much on her face, and Leone asked to wipe it off. And then when she wiped it off, she wiped too much of it off. So then she became stuck in the mold. And she spent about an extra hour in there just trying to get it off. They almost went to the ER with her because they couldn't get the thing off.
Imagine that. Oh, we were just making a film.
Totally fine, totally normal film. Yes. Well, Dan, because this came out in 2016, I want you to cast your mind back to that particular year. And I want to talk about the Great Clown Invasion of 2016.
Well, it was a beautifully timed thing, wasn't it?
I know.
Was it for the internet, do you think?
Don't worry, I've got a few facts and figures for us. So in August...
I couldn't quite believe, especially, I can imagine it kind of in America, but it was happening like everywhere.
That's right,
It became like a viral hit of people going, you know what, I'm just going to shit people up.
Well, the guy, funnily enough, the guy who is in, the other exterminator, the one who's not bald, the actor who plays him is the Staten Island Clown, apparently. And he apparently kicked off the viral clown thing. But then there's a lot of other ones that kind of, there was a one called the Northampton Clown in England. There was DM Pranks in Italy as well. They were like the pioneers before it hit its peak in like 2016. But initially, the what started it off in 2016 was it was actually a promotion or a viral kind of advertising thing for a film called Gags the Clown. And it was like a short film, and they made it into a feature-length film eventually. It took off, and like Fox News got a hold of it, and they were like, "This is real, killer clowns everywhere, satanic clowns coming to kidnap your children and rape them and kill them."
Fox News do that.
Yeah, Fox News. Well, it's not like Fox News, is it, to do that? Well, they're lovely. I'm sure they're nice, very nice people, very calm, sensible,
Yes.
not hysterical people at all. But it kind of started from that, and there was some kids saying that there was some clowns trying to pull them into a forest with money and candy and stuff. Like a lot of this stuff was a hoax. Like some of it was just like, oh yeah, I said I spotted a clown and it wasn't there. But some of it, did have some truth to it. And some people used it as use the cover just to actually commit crimes. There was robberies, there was holdups and things like that. But there were kind of several incidents of it. It got so bad. The World Clown Association came out and said, the leader of that, I can't remember his name, he came out and said, he said, "We're not associated with these clowns, these killer clowns. We just want to make a living. We're nice. We're friendly. They're not real clowns. We
remember that. Yeah? It was like kids entertainers weren't making any money. No one's booking me. Starving.
Like clowns are that popular in fucking 2016 anyway. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. How many kids' parties do you see with clowns in nowadays?
It's a world clown thing.
Yeah. Well, there you go. And Andre Muschietti of the It film, the director of the It film that was coming out in 2017, he had to come out and say, "This is not a promotion for my film. I am not involved in this in any way. Stop blaming it on me." There was so much stuff going on. In New Haven, they banned all clown costumes. And in Georgia, an 11-year-old girl was arrested for bringing a knife to school to protect herself from the clowns.
This was 2016, you say?
2016.
A lot of weird shit started happening in 2016, didn't it? Damn you, CERN.
Damn you, 2016.
Collider, you messed up the universe.
That's it. And Trump was on the rise, wasn't he? There was a few other things
Brexit.
Like that.
Everything.
Oh, fucking hell, yeah, Brexit. Shit.
Everything happened in that year. All the mad shit went down.
We did it. And there was clown bomb threats. There was a Facebook group saying, "We're going to kill the children and kidnap the teachers. We're not playing."
And put them in our car with the doors fall off.
Yeah, and we're going to fit them all in our tiny, tiny car. There is at least one reported clown sighting in every state in America. That's crazy.
Like McDonald's, then?
Well, speaking of McDonald's, Ronald McDonald started making less appearances after 2016 because people were a little worried they were going to cause panic, and we still really don't see Ronald McDonald that much. I think that's probably why. For better or for worse, whether you like him or not, whether you think he's a creepy clown.
No, McDonald's now.
That's it.
I mean, the way McDonald's is going, you don't really see any people in McDonald's anymore, do you?
Well, I went today and I used the machine you struggle using, and there was quite a few people in there. So I will disagree with you, sir.
I mean staff.
Oh, staff, yeah. And you don't see the Hamburglar?
There's no staff there waiting to help stupid old people like me who can't use that machine.
No, but
youngsters laugh at, just sit there laughing while I'm licking the screen.
Don't worry, you don't want to use them anywhere. They're apparently covered in feces and fecal matter, apparently, according to scientists.
I use my app now. I'm down with the kids.
Yeah, that way you're only touching your own fecal matter. Then. When America was banning these costumes, count on Glasgow because they bought as many as they could in Glasgow. They sold out everywhere. And in Florida, obviously Florida is known for some crazy news headlines. People decided to go armed while they were trick-or-treating. Sounds like Florida. Sounds like a Florida thing. The Russian embassy in London also issued a warning for Russian and British citizens because of the clown scare. So this is crazy. New Zealand shops withdrew clown costumes. Employees at theme parks were told not to wear any clown costumes in case they were attacked. They announced as well that there was going to be a widespread purge on Halloween and all the clowns are going to kill everybody and they're going to, and people are like, oh yeah, it's a satanic cult. And, it's like, oh, okay. But even scarier was there was vigilante clown hunting groups that went out and were looking to...
Same clown posses.
Probably, yeah. But they actually became probably arguably more dangerous than the idea of the clowns But tragically, in fact, 2 kids were stabbed during this whole fucking hysteria. One was stabbed but he was wearing a clown costume, but the media twisted it and said a clown stabbed him. I think there was one in Varberg, Sweden. But yeah, crazy, crazy stuff. But yeah, there you go. That was the clown invasion of 2016. I hope you like that little segment.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a bit mad. Go and look it up yourself. There's YouTube videos, there's articles, you name it. But it kind of all happened at once, and it was a big deal. So I thought it was fitting with it being 2016, being Killer Clown, being Halloween. I thought it all kind of came together. So I thought we'd go down memory lane. But yeah, no. 2016. What a
good
year.
Times.
Good times before the dark times.
Yeah. Our friend who was the bug bomber, he probably killed more than Dark the Clown did with all those poor little bugs getting killed.
I guess, yeah. If you consider him a murderer of animals, I guess it was.
Is the guy who's taking over from him for the shift, or somebody's called? I can't know. He comes in and he basically, he gets his head cut off.
He does.
Delightful way is the best way of saying it. He just gets stabbed up and then gleeful art saws his head off. Well, when the head comes off, it's, when he stands on the head, it's a bit rubbery, but the rest of it is quite realistic. Yet again, kudos.
Yeah, it's a fake head, but I appreciate the fact that they've gone to that effort to make a head, even if
he stabs him in the. I think he stabs him in the eye, doesn't he?
I think so. And
then he's like, has to wriggle to pull the blade out of his head, like. And after he cuts it off completely, and I thought, oh, that poor fella, he's only come in to start a shift,
dead. And then the other guy, the bald one, who gets his head just fucking smushed.
Yeah, well, that's where the clown shoes come in.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he smacks Art over the head, knocks him out, and then he runs off with her into just another room, which is kind of like in Ninth Circle. It's set in a train station type waiting room kind of thing. And that's a similar kind of room, gives off a similar vibe to that. So then Art catches up to them eventually. And it's like, you hit me on the head. So he smashes him with a hammer and just starts stamping on his head until his head completely explodes under these massive clown shoes. That's, again, another great practical effect type situation.
It's definitely, if you're a fan of practical effects, this is the film for you, I think.
Grady grindhousey type.
I also really love the theme music. I think it's fucking great. It's very synthy. It's very 80s. It's very John Carpenter. Yeah. And it does take you. There's a little bit of Texas Chainsaw in there as well. I think they dedicate the film to 3 people at the end. I'm struggling to remember the third person, but it's George A. Romero, Toby Hooper, and somebody else. I think they also might be dead. But yeah, you can definitely see that influence on these films as well, especially that sort of stuff. And yeah, I think it's a lot of fun if you like your 80s slasher movies. I think this is something that, again, does something new, something a bit different, but also honors the stuff from the past and what you would love about those original films.
Well, again, the difference with them is the Victoria's
The final girl, yeah.
Final girl. And you think, oh, cool. And then he basically runs her over.
Oh, yeah.
While playing some smooth jazz on the radio and dancing along in his seat.
Like that door she squeezes through. I was like, oh, you can easily get through that door. Like, it's so easy to get through.
And he just basically goes, you know what? What do we need to do it in? Here's a big truck. Let's just get in there, stick me jazz on, dance along to it in my seat, splat.
So bizarre.
And then obviously he's called the police already, so they got there as soon as they could.
Put the gun down.
And he's got
your hands up.
He's basically on it. She's out, and he's just over her, eating her face, basically. You don't see her face, but he's obviously eating something, so he's obviously picking bits off her. And he's got the gun that he shot the other girl in the face with, tucked into his boot. The police obviously go, "Don't do it, buddy. He don't want to shoot you in the head." And so he smiles, spins around, and shoots himself right in the face. So he basically commits suicide, blows the back of his head off. So then the police go, "Oh God, why did he do it?" It's like they're really upset that this killer.
Yeah, they did seem to be a little too upset by it. I was like,
and then without actually moving, I don't think. He goes over and goes, "She's still alive," and she is.
I did quite enjoy the framing device you were talking about earlier with the disfigured girl who, spoilers again, turns out to be Victoria, the final girl, and this is the beginning is after the fact, and we see at the end of the film that she's recuperating in a hospital and she's coming out. She's going to have an interview about these things. And it almost looks like the jack-o'-lantern from the beginning where he makes it out of the guy's head. It's very similar look.
I think, if I remember as well, in All Hallows Eve, original Terrifier section, the girl in that sees a car parked and runs to the car for the help because she sees someone in the driver's side. And the person's like slumped on the steering wheel, and when she pulls her back, she's had her face eaten kind of thing, like that, and she's like, but, they don't really make anything of that kind of thing apart from the fact that you think he's out there kind of thing. But that was like a throwback to that, I think.
Yeah, definitely again, like that,
and more great makeup effects as well.
Yeah, again, really good.
No eyes, just like a closed socket and things, and
it reminded me a bit of. You must have seen Hannibal.
Yeah,
Gary Oldman's character in that was a bit. It reminded me of that a lot. It's kind of it's ludicrous and it's weird, but it's kind of also it feels realistic. Feels like that could be like proper scarring or what the scarring would look like.
Yeah. So we already know she's gone mental and killed the other woman at the beginning of the film. So
yeah, the reporter, because the reporter's saying, "God, she was ugly. God, I thought she was she was having some sort of fit. I thought she was going to kill me." And then she does.
She gets turned around at the end of the film, like in the wheelchair. So, oh my God, I'm going to faint.
Yeah,
but in the
big twist.
In the coroner's, they wheeled Art into the coroner's office, and he's obviously in the body bag, and then all the lights start flashing and mad shit starts going on. And it's a bit like Jason Voorhees style. I think you start hearing on the radio the interview or something. It's like,
something like that.
It basically recaps the film almost. Like it's
the lights are going on and off.
There's lights flashing through the radio kind of thing, and then it stops. Coroner turned around. He gets shot, and Art's like up again, alive, but with all his brains hanging out the back of his head, so he's clearly dead. And this is like the supernatural side of it's kicked in. It sets it all up nicely for a sequel.
I think
which we now have, and I cannot wait to see it.
Like this one is less than an hour and a half, but the next one's like, was it 2 hours, 20 minutes?
2 hours 20, but apparently everyone who's seen it says it just flies by. And there's a 3-minute sequence.
Okay.
Which everyone's talking about, but not talking about because no one's giving spoilers.
Right.
Which apparently is the bit where people are dying. I mean, passing out and vomiting in the cinema and stuff.
Yeah. The vomit bags, the artwork on there is done by Uncle Frank Productions, who does the artwork for Grimfest. He's a great guy, and we interviewed him on the podcast as well.
They were made for for the Northwest.
I think that's what it was originally created for, but then they put it on the sick bags as well because they liked it so much, I think.
When that came out, it was about the time the people actually started needing them.
I love it because it's kind of almost like a bit of a William Castle gimmick sort of thing. Wasn't it the same for like Exorcist? Didn't they, hand out?
Used to have ambulances outside.
Oh, that was it. Yeah. That's a good bit of promotion for horror films.
But this apparently is real. It hasn't been. Damien Leone was saying at the weekend. It's not. They have had nothing to do with this. It's real. People are they just brought it out thinking, we'll have it out for a week, and it's getting extended, and then people started throwing up, and it's just like, it's selling itself.
I think once you get that, I think I remember talking to a book salesperson. They were like, once a book sells like 20,000, then it just flies off the shelf at that point, or something like that. So I imagine that's the same after the first person vomits or faints.
Oh, we've got it. Yeah, you've got what the hell? We've got to see this.
Yeah, we've nailed it. We've absolutely nailed it.
Art now can go anywhere, and
in space. They can take him to space.
Yeah, but let's hope not. It never ends well. But I think that's the whole thing with the Art the Clown is it can go anywhere now that it's like the supernatural elements will come back into it. And
sure.
I mean, I don't know too, but from what I've seen, maybe there's like a family element to it and like further versions or whatever. I don't know. I can't wait to see it. But I might have to nip to Asda tomorrow to see if I can pick it up. But I couldn't move today after the weekend, so I've been housebound because I'm old and crippled.
Was it a lot of kneeling down?
No, it was a lot of just standing up all day. And me need today is just huge, but you don't need to know about this.
That's fine. I mean,
you can't see. Just for the listener, but we're doing this by video, and you can't see from the waist down. But I've got a big knee, which I've kept elevated all day. Rice.
Of course. Yeah, it's the only way.
Apparently so, because I've tried to get an appointment to the doctors and the GP service in this country. God. Anyway, we digress. So they could take it anywhere, but everything I've heard, and after speaking to Damien and stuff, I think he's keeping art. Anything to do with art, unless he gets total creative control.
Yeah, he's not going to do anything.
So he's going to do everything the same as he's done it from the beginning. So if a big studio came in and he started saying do you want this, do you want that? He'd be like,
it doesn't need to now because the funding from fans is there anyway.
Yeah.
So they always went way past their goal that they needed to. So
yeah, I mean, I backed it. They were all called something if fire, all the backing levels. So I got Poster Fire, which was a poster signed by Damien Leone, which I have already. There was a poster signed by the whole cast, but that was a bit too expensive for me because I'm tight. And then the other one was Scriptifier, which was a copy of the script. So obviously that hasn't come out yet because they're waiting for it to be out streaming in the States before they release that. Because I write a little bit scripty stuff for myself, and so it's always good to see how other people are doing it. And so I thought, I love that. And I think it's signed, and I'll probably frame it or something. Something
why not?
Nerdy as that.
Why the hell not?
But yeah, I think if they keep it, Damien Leone keeps it to his own vision. Hopefully, we shall just get pure art stuff rather than gimmicky, like Freddy Krueger.
That's the problem with Chucky and Freddy is you can go way too far with them to the point where it's just a joke. Yeah, and they're just a parody of what they used to be, and they're not scary at all.
Freddy rapping, stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. All the toys they made and kids stuff. Even my nephew's 5. He is quite interested in these horror characters. He doesn't watch the films or anything, but he likes I think it's the visual design of the characters that really draw him in. I even got him like a little Michael Myers mask and things and stuff, so he can, do something on Halloween or dress up, because that's his favorite. He plays the music all the time, dee 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 dee, and all that. So I absolutely get it, and I think I agree with you. I think there's potential for this character in this franchise to be bigger and better and go places. If they keep a lid on the character and not kind of just go, how much money can we make, and like just kind of focus on the art of art.
We need Bride of Art. We need this, like Bride of Chucky and
spin-offs and stuff.
And then we need his kids, and then we need this, and then we need that. But,
we're doing spin-offs of spin-offs. It's like The Conjuring. Now we've got Annabelle. Now we've got The Nun. It's like, okay, I see what you're doing. But there you go. I think there's definitely a lot of currently untapped potential for where art can go, and the kind of things he could do coming up. Like you said, we've opened up the supernatural door at the end, so there are things, there are places to not to plateau, but to raise to the next level.
The thing I'm most annoyed about is I couldn't get hold of it set on one today. I would have watched it. But if I'd watched it today, I'd probably be so confused and be going, and there's this bit in it where this happens. You'd be like, did it? I don't remember that bit. And I'd be going, is that 2? Oh,
you're spoiling Terrifier 2 for everybody. Stop it, Dan. You've ruined it.
Just like me, though.
Well, I've got a couple of bits of trivia, and then we're going to go on to our.
We love.
Yeah, we love a bit of trivia. David Howard Thornton. I keep wanting to say David Thornton Green, and I think I'm confusing that with, is it David Gordon Green? Is that the Halloween director?
Yeah, probably. I don't know.
Something great. It's something David something Green.
Yeah.
I think.
I recognize.
Yeah, I keep wanting to say that, and I'm like, that's definitely not him. I even wrote it down several times. I'm like,
me with names, John. So.
Hey, you knew the characters in this, you knew the names for them, so that's something.
The one word names, I'm all right with that. Short for 4-letter words. I'm good for 4-letter words.
You've always been great at 4-letter words. I've always noticed that. I've always appreciated that about you. David Howard Thornton was the 6th person to audition for Terrifier for Art the Clown. And during the audition, he began miming and tasting a beheaded victim's blood, but decided it wasn't quite right. So then he mimed adding salt to the blood and then tasting it again. And that is what clinched the part for him. That's what got him the part. Michael Gianelli, the original, didn't want to come back because of the heavy prosthetics and makeup and the amount of time it was going to take to put on and the amount of time he was going to have to spend in the prosthetics. He also wasn't a trained actor, but he is a close friend of David Leone. And I think he was still great in those original shorts in All Hallows Eve, but I think they made the right choice. And also the mold that they use for art is actually the same one that Gianelli wore on his face, but it had to be kind of altered and retrofitted to go on David Howard Thornton's face. That was to keep the consistency of the look between the films and the character, to make sure it didn't look too different or too, because it is his face, isn't it? Yeah. I don't think that's makeup. I think that's just his face in the film. So I don't see that as makeup. So I think that's probably a good choice that they did that.
David Howard Thornton's face. So it is like a little, because I've seen the process. It is like a little mask, and it's essentially accentuates
his features.
So it makes him look more scully. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And obviously, it's not his nose.
No, clearly not.
It's very similar to my nose. His nose. I could just paint my face white and I'd look like that.
Do it. That's your next one.
So if the listeners who are on your Patreon have a look at the exclusive photos, you'll see the prosthetic pieces.
One of my favorite quotes from David Howard Thornton was that he describes art as an evil Mr. Bean.
Yeah.
And I kind of love that. I kind of love that.
Yeah. You could hear him go, oh.
Yeah, there's definitely something there. Let's see. Is there anything else I want to talk about or mention? No, I think we're good. I think we're good for facts and figures about Terrifier. So let's move on to these listener comments, Dan, which you commented as well.
I did.
So at Dan's Photo 1 on Twitter, he has posted a picture of that black and white Ronald McDonald with the cup on the nose. And you say, this fella. I've asked who's everyone's favorite creepy clown. He's probably got the highest kill count too.
You definitely has.
I mean, yeah. I can't. You can't really argue with that. That's science.
It might have took them. Might have took them longer to kill people. But definitely. I think every clown is causing an obesity epidemic as well.
Yeah, could argue that as well. Yeah. God damn Ronald McDonald. So Max Byrne at Maxi Byrne on Twitter, he said 007 at the end of Octopussy.
Oh God, yeah. I was actually, yeah. That was the scariest clown I've seen. I forgot. I'd wiped that from my memory.
Don't ever wipe that. It's gonna stay with you now. It's gonna follow you to bed now.
Who was that? Who was that who mentioned that one?
Maxi Byrne or
Thanks,
Max Byrne.
Such a great. Thanks. I appreciate you.
He's been
nightmares now.
He's been on the show. He's been on the show a couple of times. He's a great lad. And we went to see Morbius together. That was
Morbid time. So
it was Morbid time. What a film! But that's enough out of that. So let's get on to the next comment. So Paul Meller, so that's at the Meller Geek on Twitter. He says, "I'm not one to get overly creeped out by clowns, but I guess my favorite, the one who can be the most sinister in all of his guises, has to be the Joker."
Yes, and interestingly, David Howard Thornton played the Joker. In Nightwing Escalation, which is a web series. He's in series 3 as the Joker.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He's very good as well.
Yeah, I did.
He gets it, and out on the weekend as well. The video of the weekend's panel, your friend of mine, Ben Fenelon, doing the talk with the cast is, I think it's up on YouTube now. And he mentions if he'd love to play the Joker again and do it properly, because he even had there's a T-shirt of Art the Clown with the Killing Joke picture.
Oh, nice!
Start doing the hat thing, but it's he had that T-shirt on during the panel as well.
Amazing.
And he does do a Joker voice during the panel as well, if I remember correctly. I struggle to remember. So people come to me after the events and go, "Oh, that talk was great, wasn't it?" And I'm like, bizarrely, because I'm concentrating on getting photos, I kind of don't hear, which is weird. But
it's a focus concentration thing. I get it.
Did you hear that bit? I'm like, oh, no. Or I might have been like behind the monitors or something, so I can't actually hear what they're saying. So it's worth a watch. I'll probably watch it just to find out what actually got said.
I might give it a go now you said that. So
yeah, it's a good. And Ben, he's a good old talker with them. He's
a good lad. He's a good lad. Yeah,
you can check that out if it's
definitely.
You might be able to add to your. In fact, you might be able to find out if some of your trivia was correct.
I might do. I might do. Well, to be fair, I watched a couple of Q&As that they'd done that both David Leone and David Thornton. See, I wouldn't say Green again. David Howard Thornton did. They did. I think it was GalaxyCon and New Jersey Horror Con or something. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the details and trivia is from that. So, but it's also now available on IMDb because I put it on there. It's there for you. I've done it. I've recorded it, so future podcasts don't need to hunt and watch hours and hours of Q&As. They can just go on IMDb. I've made it easier for everybody because I'm the hero of this story. With great power and great knowledge and great research and taking a lot of time out of my personal life to research this shit. Okay, next up is John Hammond at John Hammond 73. So many to choose from. How about the guy from Clown 2014? I love Clown. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
I think that's it.
The nose.
Oh yeah, he's pulling the nose off.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen Clown, I think it's by the director of the Spider-Man movies or one of the Marvel movies. It's definitely he's definitely done a Marvel movie. Whoever directed it, and I don't think it's a Spider-Man director, but it's another director. You go while I'm talking about it. But basically, it's about a guy who is a family man, and he finds a clown suit in the attic, puts it on to entertain his child, and then learns it can't take it off, and realizes it's a clown suit that's made out of a demon or something. And it's great. It's a great kind of body horror, killer clown thing. I remember there's a scene where he's chasing his son through like a play area, one of those soft play areas.
Yeah. For me, I remember it as being, it started great. It was a great premise and this is new, and then kind of just descended into normal.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
For me, it was great. It was a good film. It was a great film.
Just didn't do it for you.
So he directed Cop Car and Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Yes, so it was that director. Okay, cool. Yeah. I thought it was just because I thought Cop Car was his big break, but clearly not. It was Clown. I was right. I was right again.
Looks like he's done a. Have you seen the new? There's a program called on one of the streamers called The Old Man.
But but with Jeff Bridges. Yeah,
looks like he's involved in that as well.
Nice.
It looks like he's done quite a few Spider-Man things.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be surprised. I think he did all three, didn't he? He did all the three Marvel ones.
Yeah, the new ones. So
anyway, going back to John's comment.
Start with the nose and with the spider.
The thing is, you can pull me into a Spider-Man discussion quite easily. That's the problem.
Oh yeah.
So there we go. So he's describing the film. So Clown 2014, seeing a normal father transform because of the cursed clown suit is pretty terrifying. Oh, and there's this fella. And he's also done a little photo of Ronald McDonald. There you go. That's the more kind of modern 80s version, I guess. 80s, 90s. And
if you black and white, if you put that in black and white, that looks like the original Art the Clown from the first.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I could see that. Definitely. But yeah, there's. I feel like I might have been. Was there another one? I feel like I had another comment. I can't remember. Let's have a look. Just have a quick one. No, not there. No, I think that was all of them. Okay, yeah, that's.
Nobody mentioned Boris Johnson.
Well, we almost had him back, didn't we? The whole of the Parliament now is just a farce anyway. So you might as well bring back the clown. No, I do have one more comment. In fact, I do have one more comment. So Matthew Blackburn on Facebook, he says it has to be Pennywise, but I say Tim Curry from the TV. Maybe nostalgia, but he was creepy as fuck in a few roles when growing up. Also, I've not watched Terrifier. I looked it up, but nope, not doing that one. And number 2 sounds worse, on the level of Necromantic, which was a film I introduced to a few people recently on a podcast.
I like to introduce people to the best films, don't you, Dan?
Well, I mean,
that was quite normal time.
I only introduce you to the. To be fair, if I did it on our channel, if it was on our channel, I probably would have invited you to talk about it. But Dan, where can people find you on the social medias and see all these wonderful photos you've been taking of Art the Clown and more?
So mainly Instagram. It's at Dan's Photo. Twitter, if I remember to post to Twitter, because I try and stay away from Twitter because it is like a cesspool of.
Yeah, it's a little toxic, but I like Twitter, but I keep my circle very, very, very small.
Yeah, I keep me. So it's Dan's Photo 1 on Twitter, as you do. Keep it as small as possible, so I only see nice people on that feed. On my personal Twitter, I've got all kinds. The worst posted probably by me, and then on Facebook, it's at Dan Burgess Photography, I think.
I believe so.
But if you go onto Instagram, like it's the link in bio thing. I think all me things on there. Or you can find me on danburgessphoto.co.uk, which is my website, and that's got all the links on as well.
Amazing.
I've started a little blog.
Oh, very nice.
Which I'm currently running a competition on to win a copy of The Spine of Night on Blu-ray.
Oh, look! Dan is giving even more free stuff. I have also entered that competition, so hopefully.
So I better drop it off at yours instead of
because I'm going to be the only one who enters it. No,
so that's on Instagram as Pix2Pixels. But if you look on my Dan's photo Instagram, there's a link to
find it. Yeah.
And obviously that's a recent thing, so that it hasn't got many followers. So the more followers we get on that, the better. And as I say, there's a competition run now. If you do one of those, like, follow me, all that stuff.
Subscribe, share. Yes. Well, I'll leave a link to that in the show notes with all the other links. I'll mention the competition because I've not seen it yet, but I do like. I've talked about the kind of rotoscoping thing before. Me and Andy did the Ralph Bakshi Wizards and stuff, and that was kind of a big part of that. So I am interested in seeing it. But yes, check out Dan's Pix to Pixels, Dan Burgess Photo, Dan Burgess Photo 1 on all the social medias. Like those photos. Dan also restores old photos, family photos that have been damaged. He does amazing edits and backgrounds and effects, stuff in the foreground, stuff in the background, energy, you name it. All the stuff I've ever done with him has been amazing. I love my electro stuff. That's probably some of my favorites that Dan's done. Those editing. I was looking back at those Black Cat ones where it's like, I'm like sparking, but I'm also like got like the drool flying out of my mouth when she punches me. I think that some of the best, or when I was being sucked into Thor's hammer was a good one. Some great stuff. So go check out Dan.
It helps to have your acting skills when you pull in the faces and stuff, though.
Yeah, I'm a bit like Art
McLeod
as well.
Get that. When you say to them, "Do this," and they go, and you say, "Oh, okay then."
Yeah, they look a bit dead and they're not engaging their body. It's just acting. It's just actor training.
And if anyone's out there who goes to cons and pays a lot of money for a photograph with a star, and then when they get it back, go, that background's bland. I can change it.
Absolutely, and it's again very cheap. Dan is on the cheaper end of this, so
cheap as hell.
And
I don't know how to charge people.
He's too nice. He's giving all this stuff away for free or for a very low cost. So
take advantage of me while I'm still nice.
Do it. If you've got a Halloween costume, he'll do some magic and stuff. If you've got photos, if you want, if you just want something touching up as well, Dan's good at that as well.
Good at touching things up.
Don't worry, you're gonna get in trouble now. We're gonna get you cancelled, Dan.
We're gonna. It always at the end of anytime we have a discussion, we get to the end and go a bit giddy, don't we?
Get a bit giddy, a bit filthy, a bit downright filthy. Well, I mean, we're gonna have to do another sexy podcast, aren't we? Because the weird sex scenes I did with Ben, that went really well. I got a lot of people watching and listening. People love that one, so we're probably gonna have to do another sexy one. Like maybe we'll do that Caligula sequel. That's not quite a sequel to Caligula.
Oh yeah, what's it? I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah,
like Reborn or something stupid.
Yeah, the secret life of Caligula,
Calliope or something, isn't it? Or something.
Yeah, some shit. I'm sure we'll find something entirely disgusting.
My wife can walk in on me watching and go, again.
Perfect. Yes. We'll try and figure out. We'll do Crash. Maybe David Cronenberg's Crash or something like that. We'll do something really weird and fucked up. But yeah, we'll find something to do. I've got some ideas. I do have some ideas for us later down the line. So I'll throw you some weird, because I want to do a few more. I feel like I've lost a bit of my weird edge, so I need to bring it back a little bit and look at some more.
Oh, yeah. So you immediately think of me?
Always. I go, you know what? There's actually an idea I had, and Dennis turned it down. So I think it's going to have to be one with you.
Have to be me. You know me. You can go, hey Dan, do you fancy watching this? And I go, yeah. And then just look up what it is, and oh Jesus, what am I watching?
Yeah, it's a pretty weird one. I won't tell you what it is exactly, but I've got.
So I found it easier to talk about all those weird shit ones than I did about a film I actually liked.
Because you're a lot more passionate about things you don't like, I find. So That's all the fun that we have.
I don't
here.
mind slagging off things I don't like, you see, but when something like, oh no,
Right. You're like, yeah, it's good. I like it. It's fun.
I like it a lot. It's very good.
It's very good.
It really saws a woman in half.
Brilliant.
From fanny to face. It's great.
So many killings. Brilliant killings.
From fanny to face, right? Just a straight line. It's great. And he keeps it lovely and straight too. And I don't know how he does it, because he uses one of those little handheld hacksaws. And all I was thinking was, when I try to use one of them, it always blocks, doesn't it? It gets stuck. When the metal bit hits the actual bit that it's just like that. But he just uses it like a professional. Amazing.
Well, on that disgusting note, as per usual, you can find me on the social medias. So at Facebook, it's at Secret Balls. Twitter, it's at Dan_Balls. Instagram, it's at SpiderDanSecretBalls. Review, like, share, comment, subscribe, etc. And don't forget to use the hashtag #PrepareForPrattle when you interact with us. And if you want to join the Prattalion to be briefed in full on the Secret Balls, swing over to Prattle World at www.spiderdanandthesecretballs.com. That's BORES. And I'd like to thank my patrons on Patreon. I Am Jack's Musings, Simon Cotton, Paul Meller, Max Burns, Scott Hodgson, Mike Burton, Angry Andy, Tonya Todd, and Tony Farina for their continuing donations. It is very much appreciated and helps Prattle World keep on turning. And if you ever find yourself in a position to help the podcast, please consider it. So you guys are going to get those exclusive For the Love of Horror photos from Dan the Man himself. So thank you very much for that. You are very, very generous as per usual.
No problem.
And I thank you for, again, joining me and helping me finish off Shockphobia Fest in the best way possible.
I would like to apologise to all your listeners.
He's back. And initially, I've got to apologise straight away for him and his lewd behaviour. But don't worry, we'll be back doing something else very soon, and something potentially shit as well.
Well, if I'm involved, it's likely.
It's likely I'm shit as well. But yes.
Shit's in it, probably.
There'll be shit. There'll be some mad shit. There'll be some definite mad shit. I'll find something nice and weird for us. But yes, we're gone again. But thank you, Dan. Thank you for all your insight and all the information. And thank you, even though you've had such a busy weekend, I do appreciate you taking the time to come on and talk Terrifier.
It's always a pleasure. It's nice to get out of the house. Oh, in the house. Oh.
Yeah, you never left. You never left.
This new fangled Zoom stuff's genius.
It is. Makes you it creates more social anxiety, I think, for me. The more I do it, I'm like, never gonna leave the house. Never. It's safe here. It's warm. Goodbye.
Bye.